Greetings, blessings, and welcome to From Heartache to Heart Peace. Welcome to From Heartache to Heart Peace. And as you can guess from the name, we are going to be focusing on your heart center. Your heart center is the energy center. It is the felt space, the felt sense that you have pretty much in the region where the physical heart is, but located right in the center of the rib cage. It is the area that everybody knows about intuitively. It's what popular songs are always about, movies, books, poems. Now, people make much of heartache, but they don't quite tell you, well, what do you do with it? Except that sometimes therapists will say, well, you should just be with the feeling. Now, if you tell somebody who's in pain, emotional pain, well, just be with the feeling, what that tends to do is put them into a negative loop, meaning that they think about what makes them feel upset, and then they feel really upset. So there's got to be something beyond that, and in fact, there is. What we're going to explore to start is learning how to be present. Now, when you practice being present, that means that you are aware of thoughts, but you are not indulging them. You are not diving deep into them. You are aware of sensations and feelings, but you are not diving deep into them. And that's sometimes called the witness state. Now, to be clear, we're doing witness state a little bit differently than the way you might have learned it. The reason for this is that witness, as the word might imply, is a visual phenomenon. You're witnessing or looking at something. What we are going to do is the feeling equivalent of looking. It's a way of feeling by tuning into sensations in the body, but without getting too identified with them. It's the witness state that you can feel. Before we even do that, just breathe into your body and acknowledge that you are here now and that you have a right to be here now and that you have a right to be in every part of your body, here and now and always. Good. Breathe all the way from your head to your toes and from your toes up to your head. And get a sense that the light, the essence that is your soul, is a brilliant swirl of sparkles within you. It swirls up and down within you, and then it swirls like a whirlwind all around you, and it sweeps the clouds away. What we're doing is just owning our space, getting into the body, and establishing that we have the right to exist and that our spirit is the primary thing that defines who we are and that defines our space. That is looking good. Okay, excellent. Now, what we are going to do, begin to notice what happens when you breathe and you breathe into your rib cage. Now, how do you breathe into your rib cage? You tune into that space. Just get a sense, that location of the entire rib cage where the heart and the lungs are. And just letting your attention be there is actually quite a healing and centering thing to do. Now breathe gently, don't force it, a little bit more deeply into your rib cage. Okay? Good. Now, bring the light of your soul even more deeply there. Now, of course, your soul is already there, but there's something wondrous about intention. When you intend to bring your soul, though your soul is already there, even deeper into your rib cage, magically, the soul now has more permission to be there. So bring it there. That's good. Okay. Now, establish that you have the right to bring the light and the presence of your soul into your heart space. And establish that you have the right to be present, if at all possible. Bring your light deeper than it's ever gone before into the rib cage. Bring it deeper than ever before into your heart space. That's nice. That's pushing a lot of stuff right out of you. Now, do feel free as the stuff surfaces to lift it with your hands right out of the aura. Anything that seems clogged, heavy, smoky, confused, just lift it out of the aura. If it seems that it doesn't want to leave, we have ways of dealing with it that we will get to. But for the moment, just let those energies surfacing know that it's time for them to release. And that will get things started. Okay. Now, first thing we're going to explore is what do you do with aspects of the heart that are holding the condition commonly called heartbreak or achy heart. What I want you to do, tune into one of your hands. We're going to do some energy self-healing. Just one of your hands, and get a sense that within your hands there is a tingly light or a tingly vibration that you can sense, and simply use your imagination. And then with that hand, imagine that you are using that hand to go under the surface of your skin. You're reaching in, reach into whatever you can find that seems to be achy, reach into whatever you can find that seems to have stuckness, rigidity, what we would call heartbreak. Now, the amazing thing, when you actually touch something that has not been touched for a long time, it will start to heal because the energy in your energy hands is capable of naturally and spontaneously doing that. So reach in to the place that is broken or torn or whatever it is. Start to weave it together and start to smooth it out with your energy hand. That's good. Excellent. Okay. Nice. That is lifting some heavy stuff out. Now, when you smooth everything together, when you weave it together with your energy hand, in some cases, the negative energies will spontaneously dissolve, and that's always a wonderful thing. However, sometimes it simply displaces or pushes out the stagnant patterns. And that's happening with a number of people. And so simply sense the area where you are in the room and lift any heavy stuff surfacing out of the room, lift it into light, or lift it into the center of the earth and let it release and dissolve. Good. What's really interesting, it's most intriguing that in a number of people, there is a thought pattern surfacing. The thought pattern is your own internal belief, and it is stating something like, hey, wait a minute, you are clearing that, but you weren't allowed to do that. Now, this brings us to an interesting point that could address a lot of issues. If the matters of the heart are something that you, at some level of mind, believe that you personally do not have a right to address, that means that you have given your power away. And it's entirely possible that you gave it away to whomever you had the heartbreak with. So that brings us to a really interesting point, which is, how do you get power back when you gave it to somebody? And it might sound too simple, but just explore this, if you would, right now. Simply imagine that there is a commodity that you own an energy presence that you own that is called your personal power. And just pretend that for some reason you gave it to somebody, as if you let them borrow it, or they took it, or you willingly gave it, whatever. Just imagine that this energy could be seen. You could see it as a light or know it as a presence. It represents your personal power. Now, you might know who you gave it to, and maybe you've given it to a lot of people, but whatever the case, reach out with your energy hand. It's as if you're reaching through the ethers, and simply trust your intuition. Reach and forcibly, because you want to be very assertive about this, you want to be assertive and say, hey, this is mine. Firmly grasp your personal power in your energy hand, bring it back to you, and introduce it into your aura, as if you're weaving it into your aura. Don't just throw it into your heart. That could be a little abrupt. Weave your personal power that you take back from whomever you gave it to and bring it back into your aura. Good. And I'm supposing that doing this would possibly help with love addictions and problems like that, but it could also help with self-esteem issues and with many issues, actually, that are related to heart and love. So that's looking good. And what I'm noticing now is that everybody is looking more grounded and lighter. Everybody looks lighter. And at this point, I want to see if there are any comments or questions. So the question is, why, when you bring your personal power back, would you not immediately restore it to the heart? Why would you first put it into the aura? The reason for that, and I was speaking very intuitively when I had made that suggestion, just because of what I saw in people's energy fields, I realized that power is, as you might suppose from the word, a powerful thing. If you've given it away, in a sense, you've acclimated to a disempowered state. If the power were to return and to be in a sensitive place like the heart, immediately it would be perhaps a jolt to the system. It would be somewhat shocking. And so intuitively, I said, bring it to the aura, weave it into the aura. And you could imagine this as being somewhat like the digestion of food. You digest food, and then you can use it. You don't just throw the food down your throat. You chew it, you break it down first. So you put something in your aura, that way your aura gets familiar with it, and it can break it down. So next, we are going to look at love from the direction of, are you sending judgment outwards? Now, just to be clear, whatever the reason is that you might be holding judgment, that's a reason that is based on all the things that people said to you, all the things that people did, and at a certain point in your development, quite possibly in childhood, you rightly perceived that certain things were not fair or that people were not behaving fairly, or at least so it seemed. But even assuming that you are quite right and that they were unfair, if you are still holding those persons in judgment, it is going to shut the heart chakra, and it is going to close it down more than it needs to be closed down, and the heart will tend to be projecting judgment, which of course would tend to perhaps attract inappropriate behavior from people or even attract the wrong person entirely. So we're going to do a scan of how judgment shows up in the aura. When I look at the aura and the chakra, it's almost as if it's a command, meaning the judgment being held is putting out a vibe that says, you must dismiss me, you must judge me, you must misunderstand me. So this should be interesting. We are going to tune in to those beliefs and expectations and judgments, here's what to do. Tune into your energy hand and reach gently but decisively into your heart space and reach into the places that are holding these judgmental beliefs. With your energy hand, decisively but lovingly, pull these patterns out of your heart space and just look at them. Hold them out in front of yourself and look at them and get a sense that that's how you felt when you were younger and when you were less aware. You were less aware of your identity. And so, simply look at them and get a sense that you are willing to let the judgments go. See them wafting away. See them releasing and dissolving. And notice that you actually feel lighter. Even in the room, you might even perceive that the room is lighter. Okay. Now, put your hand on your heart and get a sense that there is loving rapport between the chakra in your hand. You can use either hand and your heart, flowing back and forth. That's good. Now get a sense that you are creating a primary relationship. You're creating a relationship between the you that is expressing through your hand and the you that is living in your heart. And as the flow gently and warmly goes back and forth between your heart and your hand, get a sense that it is gently healing and warming the space where the judgments were. And by the way, we're practicing all of this fairly briefly, but do feel free to practice on your own, and you can go deeper and go to deeper levels and work with issues that you might have with various persons in your history. Even so, just the little bit of work that we're doing, everybody's looking brighter, more at peace, more sparkly in their body. Okay. Now, what I want you to do with this feeling, the feeling of loving flow between the hand and the heart, feel into that space and get a sense of the felt sense texture. The felt sense texture. Meaning, when you bring your attention there, what is the texture? When you bring your attention there, what is the vibe or the sense? Not necessarily something that would have emotional terms like happy or sad, but texture words like warm, slow, fast, cool, rough, smooth. Now, the reason texture words are so empowering is because they do not push your buttons. They do not push your emotional buttons. So when you want to be present in a way that is the feeling equivalent of the witness state, that meditative witness state where you just watch the world go by without getting stuck in it, this is a way to be really engaged in the present moment, really engaged with your heart and your body in a way that's non-judgmental. So you feel the texture of the heart space. And that way, when you use those terms, cool, warm, rough, smooth, it doesn't push emotional buttons, and it lets you feel the texture. Now, feeling the texture is something you feel it with your mind, you feel it with your feelings, feel it with your body, with your soul. Now, doing that in and of itself is intrinsically healing. And when you start to explore, oh, interesting, this is smooth. Oh, here's a little rough place. Now with your mind, just move your mind back and forth through that little rough place in your heart space. And it's almost as if that moving attention functions very much like your energy hand. Now, here's the interesting thing, and here's a basic truth about metaphysics. What you have in your energy hand, the amazing things you do with your energy hands, it's doing that because you're tuning in to consciousness in your energy hands. And so what's the difference between using your energy hands and just using your mind and bringing your mind into something? In a way, it's all the same thing. But when you use the energy hands, there is the quality of physical presence that hands have. And when you bring your awareness to your heart, there's a presence that hearts have. Everybody's getting more relaxed in their body. That's good. Auras are looking brighter. That's good. The aura wants to be bigger, but it's not bigger. So the reason for that, it seems, is that your auras are familiar with having a certain amount of tension. You just let go of some of that tension, and the aura doesn't really know that it could be brighter, it could be bigger. Use your imagination for this. Anytime you're working with the aura, always let yourself use your imagination. It takes care of those issues of what if I'm not psychic and all of that stuff. It transcends that. So imagine that your aura is now allowed to be bigger. Just pretend and just tune into your body, tune into your heart, and notice, well, what does that feel like when I let the aura be bigger? This is good. So the question is, if when you are releasing something from the heart, you also find that you are releasing things from the stomach or the head or from any other area, what do you do to address that? And what do you do to integrate all of these things? So the reason that's an important question is because anytime you're working with an issue, you are really working with the entire chakra system, with the entire aura, and with the entire body. So even when you're focusing, as we are this evening, on the heart itself, do not take that to mean that we are working exclusively in that real estate just in your rib cage. We are working really with everything. So what we do is something that you might call triangulation. It's really simple. All that means is you are working, let's say, for example, with an issue in your heart, and you're starting to release something there, and then you notice that in another part of the body, something is surfacing, you wonder what to do. So you simply include that second or even third part of the body in your awareness. It seems like an advanced thing, like doing 2 or 3 things at once. It's actually pretty easy. All you do is you simply tune in to what's happening in one place, and then you tune in to what's happening in the other place. And then you go back to the first place, and then you go back to the second place. And by delicately leaping from one area of attention to another, it starts to include them in your mind. It includes them in your feelings, and it becomes part of what you're doing. Okay. Now, the amazing thing is, when you include 2 things, they start to unite. And so if you're doing healing work and you're tuning into various places that are starting to release and do whatever they're doing, you simply include them, and you have the gentle intention that everything is coming into alignment. And this, by the way, leads us to very next useful topic that we need to include here, and that is, how do you bring your heart, as it's healing, into a more complete relationship with the entire body and with the whole system? And so let's play with that right now. So tune in to your heart space. Tune into your heart space and gently breathe and include your heart space in your breathing. Good. Now, tune into all the areas of the body that are next to the heart, the areas above the heart, to the side of the heart, behind the heart, below the heart. Include that in your breathing. Now, this might be very simple, but it's very profound because it teaches your body and it teaches your heart that none of these aspects of the self live on their own. So the heart has the digestive system nearby, and the heart has the upper chest and the throat above. The heart, in fact, has the entire body working with the heart and wanting the best for the heart. So notice what it feels like right now. You tune in to your heart, you tune in to your body, and you feel the dynamic interaction between the heart and those adjacent places, the heart and everything near it. They're all getting to know each other. Their energy is allowed to flow. If you're wondering, how do you get one part of yourself to know another part? It's all done through presence and being with the texture as they interact, letting them energetically communicate. Don't push it, don't force it. Just let it be gentle, let it be soft. Let the flow happen, and let the flow go back and forth. Good. Okay. Now, that is really nice. We're getting good glowing auras, and it's definitely time for affirmations. Reason being, there's something in the heart space in many people that's almost getting unnerved because it's feeling too connected within its own reality. It's feeling too connected with itself, and it's somehow thought, oh, I could never be that integrated. So let's really ground this by putting one of your hands directly on your heart. That's good. Okay. Affirm, I am allowed to feel love in my heart. I am allowed to feel love in my heart. My heart is allowed to breathe with ease. My heart is allowed to breathe with ease. My heart and mind are becoming good friends. My heart and mind are becoming good friends. That's bringing up a lot of blockage. Okay, let's do something to address that. Okay, my heart and mind are beginning to explore each other. My heart and mind are beginning to explore each other. Good. That works. Bringing up a lot of heavy stuff. Lift the heavy stuff out of your aura. Lift it out of the room. Let it go. That's good. Yes. Okay. Most intriguing. Bringing up entities who were hiding. Okay. Briefly, topic of entities. These are spirits or beings, in some cases persons who are deceased, in some cases beings that were never on this planet. They just exist in time and space. When they show up, it's generally because they've been hiding in the background, and they've been hiding, in a sense, behind the low vibration energy blocks. So it's always a good thing when they surface. This is not a problem. It's good that they are surfacing. So what I would like for you to do, trust your imagination on this one. Trust your imagination. Pretend that you have a magic wand. Pretend that you have a magic wand. You can hold it in either hand. It can look however you want it to look. Now imagine that you are swooshing your magic wand all around your aura, and you are dissolving any beings in your space. Now, the magic wand will not hurt you, and it will not hurt anybody in your family. This is simply a technique to dissolve entities, also known as ghosts or spirits or what have you. So, swoosh through them and dissolve them while strongly holding the idea, beings are not allowed in my space. This is good. some of the ones that are still hanging on are saying, oh, but you let me into your space a long time ago. So as you swoosh your magic wand, sweep it all around your space, simply affirm, all agreements with entities are null and void. All agreements with entities are null and void. Now and forever. Now and forever. Good. Okay. Excellent. This is looking good. So we just did a lot. Any comments or questions? Please share them now. A question has come up regarding the releasing of entities from the space. Would that somehow release guardian spirits? When you have an energy wand and you make it really powerful and you're sweeping through the aura, that releases anything of a lower vibration. Now, you might wonder, well, what if a particular entity claims to be a guardian spirit, but what if it gets dissolved? In that case, it was not the highest level reality, the highest level being. Basically, when you want to release something that does not belong there, you need to trust that your own higher wisdom knows what highest good is. Now, sometimes that's worthwhile to trust that, and sometimes you want to rigorously examine as something that you scrutinize within yourself, do I really know what is appropriate? And it's something that you can explore on your own. Just keep on going deeper and deeper every day, clearing out what isn't supposed to be there. And you'll be amazed that sometimes you assumed that something was appropriate. It turns out that it was simply sneaking by. It was trying to get into your space to use your energy or whatever. Anyway, everybody's looking brighter, and this is good. But definitely keep cleansing yourself as often as you feel you need to. Now, we are going to work with what we might call etheric shocks, similar to heartbreak. This is where the heart and the nervous system are holding shock over matters of love or betrayal or anything like this. So, the reason I mention the nervous system is because in tuning in to issues of the heart, all these other body systems show up and other chakras show up. And so really, when we talk about matters of the heart, yes, we're talking about the heart, but we're talking about a much broader scope as well. So let's tune in, breathe into your heart space, and just tune into the notion of shocks to the heart. Let's just see what you notice there, but don't dive into it. Don't get stuck in associations. In fact, if it would help you, imagine whatever you're looking at or tuning into at a distance, as if you were examining something that perhaps was happening to another person or happening to you, but at a safe distance. Okay. So immediately what comes up is an almost rigid or frozen quality in the aura, especially in the nervous system. Okay, so in one of your hands, imagine that you have a magic wand that has a very soft, soothing quality so that you can literally melt anything that has become frozen. And so with this magic wand that can soothe and smooth and melt energy, begin to sweep it through the rigidities that you see at a distance. Now, as you smooth through the aura and the nerves, get a sense that you are working layer by layer. It's really important to work layer by layer because when you try and force it and you try and cleanse something all at once, it tends to be too much for the system. Also, it tends to get your ego involved. If you work really gradually, if you work 1% at a time, then your ego doesn't take notice, and so it goes to sleep. And while your ego is sleeping, you can do your work, and you can work gently and deliberately and gradually. And that's the healthy way to do this. Okay. Looking good. Now, we talked about breathing into the texture. Everybody's looking smoother. Please now breathe into your heart space. Notice the texture there. It might not be perfect, but it is lighter and clearer, and that is a good thing. So notice that texture. And if you notice some rough places or some shocked places still, use the magic wand, smooth them out, use your breathing, breathe in. Now, when you breathe into something, you are breathing into something that might not feel good. So don't start to go into negative associations and don't go into drama. Simply use your breath as an energy tool. Gently bring your breath, gently but deliberately, into those places that are somewhat rough or tight, and use the presence of your breath, the presence of your heart, your mind, your feelings, to gently smooth whatever you find, and do it layer by layer. Nice. Excellent releases. There is some very heavy old energy that is not able to dissolve, but it is releasing, I see, out of your heart and your nervous system. So with your energy hands, lift the heavy stuff that is surfacing out of your work area, lift it out of the room, and release it into light or into the earth. Very nice. Okay. Beautiful. You are looking brighter, stronger, lighter. There is interesting thought pattern surfacing. Something in the linear mind saying, this cannot be happening. Now, by the way, this is a very common thought pattern that surfaces. The reason it does so is because the logical mind had observed that you were stuck in a pattern. And so it came to terms with that. It said, oh, well, I'm going to be stuck like this forever. And so then, what do you know? You discover that you can release a pattern, and then the logical mind is confused because it became familiar with something, and now it doesn't know what to do. So tune into your heart and imagine that your heart is softer, fluffier, more radiant. Say to yourself, my heart feels better, and that's good. It's okay. My heart feels better. That's good. It's okay. I am allowed to create good feelings for my heart. I am allowed to create good feelings for my heart. Yes. Excellent. Okay. Looking better. With your energy hand, use your imagination for this. Gently reach into the heart space. Now, imagine that you are a magical sculptor. You are able to sculpt the energy of your heart space. So first, reach in and make the heart space bigger. It would be as if you were going into a room and pushing the walls gently out as if you could double the size of the room by magic. So you do this in your heart space. With your energy hands, you create more space. That's good. Now, also with your energy hands, reach in and start to massage the living cosmic energy in your heart space. Almost like stirring soup, but gently stirring soup. Gently stirring heart space. And begin to unite that cosmic frothy energy in your heart space with the adjacent parts of the body. So you're going to smooth and bring some of that beautiful heart energy to the upper chest and the shoulders. You're going to bring some of it to the digestive area and down to the pelvis. And you're using your energy hand to flow the heart space vibrations up and down. And this helps the heart to feel that it is part of the body. And of course, it lets the other adjacent parts of the body feel that they are co-creating this reality of good feelings with the heart. So it's a beautiful co-creation between the body and the heart. Yes. Nice. Excellent. Everybody looks taller. Central channel looks more sparkly and bright. Let's see what is showing up. What's still showing up, these are inappropriate psychic connections to people that you are not in relationship with, especially people that you had heart issues with. Okay. Some people refer to these as psychic cords because clairvoyantly they sometimes appear as strings or cords of energy that extend from a chakra reaching into other people. Now, if you happen to wonder, well, if you pull these cords out or if you dissolve them, does that mean that you are dissolving people out of your life or harming them in some way? No, this is clearing out inappropriate energy connections. And if you're wondering, well, if you clear these energy connections out of your heart, does that mean that people would go away, or does it mean that people you do care about would not be there? No, it does not mean that, because when you clear these cords or connections out of your heart space, it means that your heart is free to function as it really should with those you love, which is through the process of resonance. Now, the difference between resonance and a cord is sort of like somebody siphoning gas out of your car. When you see a cord hanging out of your energy center or out of your glands, it's almost as if somebody is trying to grab that energy. And so when you have true love with somebody, you aren't grabbing energy from them and they aren't grabbing energy from you. You are in vibrational rapport with that person. And so through the process of rapport or vibration or resonance, you could say, your heart is beating as one with that person. And so you have a shared resonance. It's more like two notes in music. The notes are creating a chord that creates harmony, but the notes are not stealing energy from each other. Anyway, I had to mention that because these issues come up. So you tune into your heart space. Now, use your imagination. With your energy hand, delicately reach in. And if you notice these lines of energy that seem to be stuck in the heart and seem to lead in various directions, you gently pull the cord out and you hold the cord in light. And you affirm, this cord is dissolved. Gently reach in. You gently pull it out. You hold it in light. This cord is dissolved. So what do you do where the cord was? You reach in with your energy hand and you weave everything together. It's like reaching into the cells or the molecules or the atoms of that heart space. You're weaving it together. Now, as you do that, it would be really nice if you could affirm something that is good for the self-esteem. So you're weaving your heart together, and you're saying to the heart, you have the right to be yourself. You have the right to be yourself. Very nice. Okay. I'm also sensing there are some negative affirmations present. It's almost as if the agreement in some of these cases where there were cords is that the other person has the right to take your energy. Now, nobody has the right to take your energy, no matter what their claim is. Even if they say, oh, well, you said it was okay. No, that's not a good reason. Or even if they say, oh, well, you have good energy and I want your energy, so you should give your energy to me. No, not a good reason. So, with your energy hand, tune into your heart space and get a sense that you can reach into these stuck, heavy places that have negative beliefs that you should give your heart energy to anybody that wants to take it. So, reach into that heavy place and imagine that you have a powerful cosmic presence in your hands, and your energy hand can reach in and dissolve that blockage in your heart space. It dissolves the blockage in the heart space. Now, as you do that, you say to the heart, Heart, I love you and I care about you. Heart, I love you and I care about you. Heart, you have rights. Heart, you have rights. Heart, you are allowed to be safe and protected. Heart, you are allowed to be safe and protected. Now, this is interesting because the psychic question comes up the instant we do that affirmation. Oh, well, if I'm protected, then how could I love somebody? Well, what this issue relates to, that question that was psychically asked, is, what is love really? Now, if you believe that if your heart is protected, you can't have love, that means that you assumed that love was some sort of weird relationship where people use each other. It was the kind of love where people stick psychic cords into each other, rather than the kind of love where you feel so good and your partner feels so good, you feel that resonance, but you do it without stealing energy. You do it without demanding. It's just something that mutually works because you are in harmony. It's a higher way. So tune into your heart and get a sense that your heart is in harmony with itself and in harmony with the universe. Let's start there, the basics. Your heart is in harmony with itself, and your heart is in harmony with the universe. If you want to, you could use your imagination. Get a sense that the universe has a giant heartbeat, and you have your heartbeat, and the heartbeat of you and the heartbeat of the universe are synchronizing. Get a sense of the texture of what that feels like, and sense that texture. Good. Now, get a sense that any appropriate relationship for you can be that smooth, because it's taking place at the level of resonance, just like a chord of music, or like two colors in a painting that are so beautiful when they're placed on the canvas that they shimmer together and they create a complete effect, a complete painting. So you and true love, that takes place on this level where your heart is able to be centered, your heart is not giving itself away, your partner is not giving him or herself away, and you feel the synchronized pulse. Now, an important point here about love and relationships between you and anybody, and even between you and yourself. When you are in resonance, that means that there is harmony, but harmony does not mean the same. An important distinction. you are not supposed to be your partner. Your partner is not supposed to be you. Harmony means it implies that two things are different but in accord, or in a healthy co-creative unity. And to be clear, unity does not mean the same. Unity is more like unity in diversity. It's the notes of the chord, it's all the colors of the rainbow that form a unified completion or unified whole. We are going to tune into love addiction and avoidance. And what we're going to do to correct those issues, we are going to bring our consciousness more deeply into the heart. Now, anytime there's some level of the heart where you are not, in other words, your presence is not there, the heart will want to have something, and it will want something that's a little bit extreme or a little bit intense. In a sense, it's not feeling the basic thing that it needs, and so it wants something that's more extreme to replace what it thinks it cannot get. Tune into your heart, and if it helps you to do so, put one of your hands directly on your heart right now, and get a sense that your heart space is a space where your body can bring its consciousness, where your soul can bring its consciousness, where your mind and your feelings can bring consciousness. And get a sense that your body is sharing its warmth, sharing its presence. Your body is sharing some nice energy with the heart, and the heart is sharing nice energy with the body. So feel that flow. And now get a sense that your soul, the light of your soul, let some of that gentle soul energy flow into the heart space, and let the juicy energy of the heart flow into the soul space. So they are exchanging. And now your mind is sharing its precision, its strength with the heart. Now, the amazing thing about heart and mind, heart needs what mind has to share. Mind needs what heart has to share. They are symbiotic. They are in relationship. They are not the same. They're not supposed to be. So mind and heart. Now get a sense that your emotions can flow into your heart space, and your heart essence can flow into your emotions. Just imagine this. When you let yourself imagine it, you start to experience a tingly sensation, which is your emotional body. You are actually experiencing it in the space where your physical body is, but it is your emotional body. Your emotions are interacting with your heart space. Nice. Okay. That works. Good. It's pushing a lot of stagnant energy out. Lift it out of your area. Lift it out of the room that you are in. Stagnant energy. Let it go. Let it release. Let it dissolve. Good. Now tune into your heart. Tune in to your heart's desire. And if it wants something that doesn't seem healthy, ask it, okay, well, what's the basic feeling that you want? And get a sense that that basic feeling that your heart would really like to have, that basic feeling can be provided by something that your body can share, something your body can share with the heart, something your soul can share with the heart, something your mind can share with the heart, something your emotions can share with the heart. Get a sense that your heart is in relationship with your body, with your soul, with your emotions, with your mind. And any time your heart feels that it wants something that it is not getting, there is now a means for your heart to get that from the soul, from the emotions, from the mind, from the body. Now, anytime the heart gets something, the heart has its own magical, loving presence. When it receives something from an aspect of yourself, it's going to give something too. So it's always reciprocal, it's always symbiotic, it's always sharing, always in harmony. The more you practice this, I believe that you will find that the addictions drop away. I believe you would also find that inappropriate love avoidance would drop away. Reason being, when you have this rapport between the body, the heart, the mind, the heart, the soul, the heart, the emotions, the heart, there is so much good relationship energy, the process of resonance would come into play. You are in relationship in a healthy way within yourself, and that allows, through resonance, appropriate meetings with appropriate people so that appropriate love energy can be there, something to explore. So the question has come up, if you are practicing tonight these techniques, and if, as somebody who's practiced tonight, you have some experience with metaphysics or energy or healing, it's as if it's more familiar to you. But the question is, what does one do when you want to share techniques like this with somebody else? Is it necessary to modify the technique, or is there a special way to do it? In general, when you help people to work with energy, as is generally the case, they are not familiar with energy, always introduce them to their imagination. Introduce people to the concept of pretending. That way, the issue of, are they psychic? It never really matters if you're psychic or not. Nobody knows what the word means anyway. Are you willing to use your imagination? If you can help somebody to use their imagination, you can help them to construct visualizations, and you can take them through step by step. Now, one of the reasons that we are working with the energy hand, as I'm calling it this evening, it's a really good way to get used to the idea that you could place your attention somewhere. And so if you were to say to most people, okay, just place your attention in some part of your body, they would say, well, place my what where? It's too confusing. So have somebody tune into their hands and have them tune into the presence in their hands, and then they imagine that their hand is reaching into their heart. And that's something that's easier to do because everybody knows what it's like to reach your hand outwards and pick up an object. People know that they can do something with their hand. And so you talk about energy and you talk about the hand. You bring the concept of energy and the hand together. Now you have the energy hand and you can do things. Also, let's say you want to weave energy together. You say those words to most people. They don't quite know what to do with it, but people know that if there was a hole in a sweater, well, you would sew it together. They could visualize that. And so if you need metaphors, make up metaphors that will be from regular life experience that you can share with people. So weaving a sweater together, you take the parts that have become torn, and you bring in some new thread, and you weave all the parts back and forth until you patch the hole. That really works because sometimes people say, I have a hole in my heart. You get them weaving the energy and weaving it like weaving a sweater together. So you keep on being creative, you keep on using metaphors, and you do whatever it takes to guide people through using real-world examples. Now, of course, use real-world examples for yourself whenever possible. The reason it's powerful to use real-world examples is because that engages the attention of your logical mind in a healthy way, because your logical mind knows that it can do certain things on the earth plane. So you use examples from the earth plane, and the logical mind recognizes, and it says, oh yes, I know how to weave a sweater, or at least I know what it looks like when I see somebody weaving a sweater. Always use those simple examples. If we have no more questions, we are going to do a concluding meditation right now. Tune in to your heart space. Tune into your heart space. And get a sense that your heart space is a part of you that is majestically powerful. and yet also soft and vulnerable and innocent. It is an entire spectrum of emotional and cosmic realities. And get a sense that you can tune into this broad range that is your heart. You can feel into it. You can breathe into it. Now, get a sense that the soft, gentle, vulnerable parts of the heart can use their softness to heal the parts that have become unresponsive or rigid or stuck. And simply imagine that for a moment. The soft, vulnerable parts of the heart have their own secret strength, the strength to melt negativity. Nice. Now get a sense that the cosmic part of your heart, the eternal spark of your heart, get a sense of that spark, and it shimmers because it's alive. It's the aliveness of the universe. That's another aspect of your heart. Get a sense that the aliveness that creates that cosmic spark in your heart is swirling and shimmering and spinning, and it is releasing a beautiful light, strong but very nurturing. And the light of the heart, that cosmic eternal heart, is shining through every part of the body, shining through every part of the body, every energy center, sparkling your aura, making everything strong and bright. And get a sense that that spark in the heart is uniting with the spark in every energy center in your body. It's uniting with the sparks that extend all the way down to the center of the earth. The spark in your heart is swirling, shimmering, spinning, uniting with your vertical central channel of cosmic light, touching the cosmos, and yet keeping you centered, keeping you real, in present time, centered, cosmically attuned to your human self, attuned to body, mind, spirit, emotions, all united there, receiving and giving. So, infinite blessings, infinite love and light to you in each moment, with every breath, on all levels. Thank you, thank you, thank you.